Welcome to episode 12 of Introduction to Botany, and in this lesson we're going to be going over plant interactions. Now, overall plant interactions, or symbiosis, is close interactions between two species, and there's three different kinds. There's mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism, and I'll get into each one of these. Now, mutualism is where both species benefit. You have plants and fungi, where there's nutrient exchanges via root filaments, or you have plants and pollinators, where insects, birds, bats, or gerbil species, or other rodents, get food from pollination. There's commensalism, which is where one benefits and the other is more neutral. Like in bromeliads and ferns on trees, they gain a habitat, but the tree is relatively ineffective. It couldn't care either way. And you have full parasitism, and this is where one benefits at the expense of the other. Like on mistletoe and trees, they suck water and nutrients, which stunts the tree growth. There's orchid species that mimic female wasps, so wasp species pollinate without actually getting a reward. And there's nectar-robbing insects that take food without pollinating. And there's a lot of conservation relevance to this. Pollinator presence is essential for plant reproduction, and habitat structures like trees and soil are needed for certain species survival. There's also population ecology, and this is the study of a group of the same species or individuals in one area. And populations can change in size, like grow and shrink, and they can change in distribution, so the pattern within the habitat. And the environmental factors can sometimes influence these changes. Like with indicator species. These are specific species that can indicate the health or state of an environment. There's a lot of different kinds. Like Trillium or jack-in-the-pulpit species in woodland ecosystems can indicate the presence of a healthy fungal network. Poison ivy can be an indicator species of a healthy forest ecosystem. Or Mimosa scribella in Brazil is a pioneer species in disturbed areas. It modifies environments for other species, and it's an indicator of ecosystem recovery. Now, a lot of indicator species do what Mimosa scribella does. In general, it's why they're called indicator species. They indicate very specific things in the environment. A lot of times it pertains to the health or recovery of that ecosystem or the decline of it. There's also endemic species, and these are species restricted to a specific area, but at the same time this can make them highly vulnerable to environmental changes. Like Darlingtonia californica is a native carnivorous pitcher plant to a small range between Oregon and California. Luckily, they're relatively protected because they're in really, really remote areas, and there's fairly stable, healthy populations in those remote areas. There's also Holy Ghost Impomopsis, which is endemic to the New Mexico Canyon. Luckily, they're also fairly protective in their native habitat through fire prevention and managing competing plants. And they're also grown in botanical gardens and reintroduced later into areas where they start to struggle. There's also community ecology, and the community is multiple species interacting in one area, and community ecology is the studies of species interactions and ecosystem dynamics. Good example would be the Florida Everglades. You have sawgrass, which allows shelter for alligators. You have spatterdock, which is habitat and food for ducks. You have manatees, which feed on seagrass. You have mahogany and oak species, which support bromeliads and ferns. And you have mangroves, which protect inland species and humans from storms. It's an entire ecosystem interacting with each other. Because of this, there's a lot of different community dynamics. Like you have facilitation, where one species improves the environment for others. An example would be a big sagebrush species. The deep roots bring water to shallow-rooted neighbors. Then you have competition on the opposite side of the spectrum, where species make environments harder for others by competing for light and nutrients. Some will even secrete chemicals to inhibit other plants' growth. This is common with a lot of invasive species. And overall, invasive species disrupt communities and outcompete natives. Like you have poison hemlock. It's incredibly detrimental to the environment, although it can make a very good pollinator species that helps pollinators get food. A lot of times it outcompetes everything else so quickly that the beneficial nature of it quickly dissolves. The black walnut species, which releases a chemical compound through the root system, which inhibits other growth of plants through volatile organic compounds, or VOCs. There is deuterostromonium, which during germination releases tons of these different compounds, which tells the other seeds of a similar species to grow like crazy. So tons of them are coming up and outcompeting other stuff around them. You have cheatgrass in the western U.S., which has early growth, so it monopolizes water. It fuels fire, so it damages habitat overall. And it has rapid regrowth, so it dominates ecosystems similar to hemlock. And overall, studying plant interactions at individual, population, and community scales informs conservation. Effective conservation considers pollinators, host plants, and habitat conditions, as well as threats like invasive species, climate change, and habitat destruction. And local involvement, like removing invasive plants and managing soil conditions, can drastically help a local environment. Now, if you could take away anything from this, it would be that plants interact with other species in complex ways, like through mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism. There's population ecology, which tracks species abundance, distribution, and conservation status. Community ecology studies multi-species interactions, including facilitation and competition, and conservation requires understanding these relationships across all scales of the spectrum. And environment. I really hope you enjoyed this lesson 12 of Introduction to Botany with plant interactions. It was a lot of fun to go over and make. If you want to get updated on any botanical or plant content that I post in general, just remember to subscribe.